So hello everyone. Here in this video we will be studying about the characteristics of culture. So in the earlier videos we have studied about culture, its definitions and the elements of culture. In definition we studied how E.B. Tyler talks about that culture is a complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art and so on. So when he was talking about the knowledge belief he referred these two as the elements of a culture. So this is what we studied in the earlier videos. Yes. Now when we move forward we will be studying about the characteristics of culture. Now these characteristics, if they are like you can write it down by your own if you have studied culture in a culture, or you have studied the optional wholly. So when you have studied the whole optional, you will be able to write all these points in a very easy manner. But still, because these characteristics were given in the notes, so I thought that I should write it down uh, in this video, so that if a question you will ask, you will not think about it and you have a framework to answer it. So the first point is that culture is socially learned. Uh, we uh, like E.B. Tyler said that that a person by being a member of a society learns uh, a particular culture trait. Yes. So he basically meant that culture is socially learned. You cannot learn culture by being in isolation and then you will learn culture. So culture is a societal phenomena. It is a multi-citizen, multi-social phenomena. So by being a member of a society, only then you can learn a particular culture. So first point is that culture is socially learned. In India, like the process, the tradition of Namaste, the Surya Namaskar. So these are a part of culture, practices which a person learns by being a member of only this society, by being a member of Indian society. If you go in Japan, there will be different modes of how you treat people. Yes. So this is what you will be writing in the first point. In the second point is that culture is symbolic. So symbolism is a school of anthropology. If you have studied anthropology, you will be able to write here. But like if you want to write, so you can write about Geats. Geats studied the Balinese society. He also gave the thick description. When he was studying the Balinese society, he was studying the cockfight. Now, what is cockfight? In cockfight, it basically means that there will be a person or there will be a family or clan who will breed or who will rear a cock. Similarly, a different family or or a individual will rear another cock, and these cocks will then have a fight. What is will have a fight? So in this fight, the person who emerges winner will have higher status. So what happened that in the Balinese society, this cock fight has attained a symbolic status. Yes. Similarly, when we talk about, for example, if we talk about India-Pakistan cricket match, so winning or losing this cricket match also has symbolic emphasis in both India and Pakistan. Yes, it also shows the status which is attached to it. Secondly, thirdly, that culture is integrated. We studied that how culture is an integration of culture patterns, culture complex, culture traits. So here you can give any example showing culture traits get formed into culture complex, then culture patterns. Fourth point is that culture is adaptive and maladaptive. It basically means that over the time, due to changes in the environment, due to changes in humans biologically and genetically, what happens that the culture also adapts according to it. Yes. So here you can give the example of Paleolithic culture, Mesolithic, Neolithic culture. That is when you will be studying the archaeological anthropology, you will be able to write these points. Then fifth point is that culture is all encompassing. That is, culture includes all the dimensions. It includes social, economic, political, technological, and so many dimensions which you think of will be somewhere a part of culture. Yes. In economic, here you can give the example of Malinowski's Strawberry study. He studied the cooler ring. So cooler ring, when you will study economic anthropology, you will be able to understand. But here it basically means that that funds were being that like it is a tradition which existed in that area. So it has both economic and socio-economic emphasis. Uh, this is you can just write out here. It is a very like it is a separate topic we will be discussing later. Now, sixth point is that culture is inculcated by being a member of a society, or being a member of a family. Uh, a person inculcates culture from his seniors or from his fellow being or from other members. So this is what it is. Seventh point, culture is gratifying. So it basically means that what happens that everyone has some needs. As per Malinowski, a person has biological and social needs. So when we have these needs, what happens that a person to satisfy these needs, he devises some things. He devises culture. Now, culture what tries to do is that he culture tries to satisfy these needs of human beings, and this is what means that it culture is gratifying. Eighth is that culture is structured. There is a structuralism, a school in anthropology, and from there you will be able to write it here. So here you can mention about Radcliffe Brown. Here you can also mention about Levi Strauss. So when you will be studying this school, there you will be able to easily write something down here. Then culture is pattern. We studied about culture patterns in which we mentioned about Ruth Benedict. So this is what you will write. The 10th point is people use culture creatively. Here it was mentioned that culture has two forms. That culture is of two types. One is the ideal culture, and the second is the real culture. So the ideal culture is what is being specified, what is there in our text, and the real culture is something which we practice in reality. Yes. So we are using like here you can give the example of India. India is such a creative country where cultures changes within few distances. So any example will satisfy here. The 11th point is that culture is stable and yet it changes. Now it is stable in the sense that it has existed for so long. Uh, we have studied about Indus Valley civilization. So it took place so many years back, and culture which was being present at that moment is also being reflected today. We have found the seals of Pashupati. We have found the seals showing Pashupati seals, showing animals. So it shows that we had certain links with the animals and the nature. So this component is still being reflected into the perspective. Similarly, culture is it changes also. Now what it means that it is flexible. It is subject to internal changes and to also external changes. In internal changes, it can be in the form of invention. In external changes, it can be in the form of diffusion. Yes. Now these are there are so many characteristics you won't even have so much space to write all these down. But this is what it means. Now moving forward, there are here are more specific characteristics, or which we can say that they are the attributes of culture. One is that culture, one term was culture universal, specialities and alternatives. So culture universal means that these culture traits, like there will be certain traits in a particular culture which are common, which are necessary to all members of society. In when we will be studying evolutionism school of anthropology, here we will study that like in culture in evolution, this is classical evolution and new evolution. So in evolution school, we will study that there is a concept of psychic unity of mankind. So what happens? It says that 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 throughout the world, mankind has a psychic unity because of which different places show a constant form of evolution. And in this constant form of evolution from one culture to another, what we find that there are uniformities in the traits which are being developed. So for evolutionary school, these are savagery, barbarism, and civilizational stages. Yes. Similarly, when we will studying here, you will find that there are few traits which are universal. For example, incest taboo is universally present everywhere. Secondly, as per as per Kathleen Gog, as per Kathleen Gog, the relationship between mother and a child is universal. Similarly, here you can also write that Murdoch, for Murdoch, nuclear family is universal. So these points we will be studying in detail when we will be studying about family, marriage, kingship, and all. Yes. Second term is specialities. It shows that though in different cultures there will be universals which will be present, but at the same time different culture will also have some particular traits which will be more specific to that culture only. Now this means that this specific traits may be subject to the environmental conditions or to the historical reasons or any other reasons, but it will be specific to that particular culture. For example, here you can write about the Eskimo tribes of Arctic region. Yeah, so if you will be writing about the Eskimo tribes and its traits, will be writing showing that the Arctic region is so cold. So because of this, the Eskimos have a specific culture trait. Here, what happens that if there is a conflict between two clans in Eskimos, so what they do is that they try to settle the dispute by not fighting, but by either song duels or by any other simple methods. So this conflict resolution is more specific to Eskimos only. In India, like in the state, if we talk about of conflict resolution, so we approach judiciary. But here, it is more specific to the Eskimos. And why is it? Because of the cold nature. Because of cold nature, the population is very less, and so they cannot undertake the risk of fighting each other. Similarly, there is a term of culture alternatives. Like culture alternative basically means that it means that in two cultures there will be different for particular function. There will be different culture traits. At the same times, it also means that in a particular culture, for a particular function, there will be different culture traits. Like for a function, for a particular end, there will be different paths to this. So this is what alternatives are. Yes. So now let's move forward to the next term, that is culture shock. So culture shock, as per Horad and Donai Hattis, it is it is very common, and it is present in different cultures as well as in the same culture. Yes, they have given this definition which you can write is that culture shock is a psychological and social maladjustment. Wait, 1 minute, 1 minute. That culture is a psychological and social maladjustment at micro level that is experienced for the first time when people encounter new culture traits. Yes. So when, like for example, when Europeans uh, when the Renaissance took place and the Europeans started moving from one place to another, so when they came in contact with the tribes, they were in culture shock that why how a particular tribe was behaving and how they were so much different for them. So the origin of anthropology lies in this culture shock only. Yes, culture shock is also present in Indian perspective also. Uh, in India, like if we move from the mainland to northeast, and you will find that the culture practice which are present here are much different. Yes. Similarly, if you go to Andaman Nicobar, so here also your cultural practice is very much different from what is present here in the main and that is in the central region. So this is what culture shock means. However, it is a very much subjective phenomena. Yes, so it is on the basis of individual's own capacity, how he how he adapts to that particular culture shock, and how he overcomes the influence. For example, if I move to one place to another and I get into a shock, so it is my capability how will I adapt to it. But there may be another person who may like his nature will be such that he does not get influenced by differences, so he may not get a particular cultural shock. So it is a very subjective phenomenon. So this is what it is. Now moving forward, there is two terms, that overtness and covertness. That culture has both overtness and covertness. Now overtness means that it is easily detectable. When we study these two are basically the qualities of culture as detectable by an observer. Yes. Now, like an observer, when he's watching a culture, so how he sees a particular culture trait represents the overtness and covertness of that particular trait. Now, here observer can be anyone. He can be an anthropologist, he can be an administrator, he can be a member of a particular society as well. Now, overtness means that when an observer watching, is watching a culture trait, and if that culture trait is easily detectable, like he is able to observe it by his eyes, or he is able to feel it, he is able to see it and practice it, then for him it is a overted nature of culture. It includes artifacts, actions, and utterances. Artifacts means that clothes. For example, if I move the UP, if I move from a place in UP and I move to uh, Kashmir, or I move to Northeast, so what will happen that in Northeast the clothes and the practices will be very much different. So it is a clothes and houses are overrated qualities. Similarly, the actions, the rituals are also overrated qualities. Similarly, when we talk about covertness, it means that their nature is so abstract that becomes difficult for us to understand it. For example, the sentiments, fear, values, and beliefs. We see that in tribes. For example, we talk about the Chota Nagpur region. So in Chota Nagpur region, the tribes of Mundas, the Orans, the Ho. So they have a link. They have a sacredness attached with the forest and the nature. So it is a covert feeling because as an observer, I will not be able to understand how a particular tribe is establishing a link with a particular tree, a particular natural aspect. So this will be covertness. Yes. Uh, Moving forward, there is a term of explicit and implicit. Here you have to mention about Lakhol. So he's an anthropologist. He mentioned these two qualities of culture. When he says that when people are aware of the existence of a particular culture item, it shows the explicitness of that particular culture trait. Similarly, when people are are not aware of a particular cultural trait, or they have dim awareness, or they are unaware of a particular culture item, then it shows the implicit nature of culture. Explicit means जो दिख रहा है बाहर, and implicit means जो छुपा हुआ है. So, for example, if at current moment Navratri is going on, so uh, the how practice, like how we practice, how we celebrate Navratri is known to everyone. So this shows that it is a explicit characteristics. But then there will be a question attached to it, that why do we celebrate Navratri? So there may be people who are unaware of the reason of this. So this constitute the implicit nature. Similarly, you can give many examples to it, but this is what it means, and you have to mention about luck home in this. The next point is that culture is both ideality and reality. So there will be ideal culture and there will be real culture. Ideal culture are written in the books how it is, it should be practiced, and in reality is what the actual behavior is. When we talk about our God, uh, Sri Ram, so he's an ideal Purush. Yes, he's an ideal person, and we idolize him. That this is, for example, like he is this person, and we are here. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to become, we are trying to achieve the qualities which he possesses. Yes. Now he may have like n numbers of good qualities. Yes, his qualities are the best in everywhere. But and we are trying to achieve these qualities. We are trying to act in a particular manner in which Sri Ram used to act. But in reality, what will happen in society, our practices, what we actually practice, will be very much different. Yes, if we may have things in our mind, but what we do in reality will be very much different. Yes, so this is what ideal culture and real culture is. A person may like uh, there is a debate on non-veg and veg, so you can also mention here how like veg is considered to be idle in a particular culture and non-veg, but still we we go for we start eating the non-veg. So here is also a point which you can mention, but it is very culture specific. Yes. Now moving to the next point, that culture is both universal and unique. It is universal in the condition that every person experiences it. So as discussed earlier, that it has ancestors taboos and mother son or mother daughter relationship as per Catholic mode. I have already discussed this earlier. Similarly, unique in the sense that there are variations. For example, in political authority, there will be villages, tribes, age-based relations. So it is different and unique. Political authority is present everywhere, but how it is present in different political systems varies according to that particular society or particular culture. The next point is ethos and ethos. So here you have to mention about Alfred Kroeber. He is an anthropologist. Yes. So he gave a distinction between ethos and ethos. They are these two terms will be studied by you in your GS4, that is ethics also. Now, ethos, when we will be studying ethos, so ethos basically refers to the affective or emotional aspect, while ethos refers to the cognitive aspect. Yes, ethos are expressed in the series of beliefs, thoughts, and behavior, while ethos are formal behavior of a culture which is derived from the constituents through cognitive processing. Now, what happens that if you consider this person, yes, so this is his mind, yes. In his mind there will be some, in his mind it represents his cognitive aspect, the aspect that is the his IQ aspect. Surrounding this IQ aspect there will be some affective aspect or affect emotional or affective aspect, and then surrounding this will be his behavioral aspect. So this cognitive aspect is ADOS, while the affective and behavioral aspect represents the ethos part. It basically means that if we are in a particular situation, if this person is in a particular situation, so the first step which comes to him will be his cognitive aspect. That he will start thinking that how should I in a particular situation, how should I react, how should I act, based on this cognitive movement, then his emotional aspect will come into play, and then it will start regulating his cognitive aspect. When this emotional aspect will start regulating his cognitive aspect, there will be there will be certain changes in his feelings, and how he wants to react. But eventually, what will happen that his behavior to this particular situation may be different than what he is thinking or what his emotional aspect may be. Now, this could be because of the rules or the position which he is acquiring. So, our mental processes start from this. This is the way we are thinking. Yes. So, this component is the ADOS part, and here are your ethos part. So this is how I have also represented it. You can mention here. In ethos, we have already studied about Ruth Benedict. She gave added a separate quality to ethos, that is the Apollonian and Dionysian. And this is what ethos is and ethos is. Mentioned about A. Kroeber, Ruth Benedict, and give an example to explain the 2 points. Moving forward, there are 3 points, three topics which are actually very important, and they needs to be discussed in more detail because there are few definitions which are very much specific to this. So what I will be doing that we will be discussing this topic in separate videos, and the questions on these topics have been asked separately as well. Yes, so in the next video we will be discussing this topic. So thank you everyone for watching uh, the video.